We start City Council meeting, City of Blue Island, Wednesday, June 29th at 7:01 p.m. City Council Chambers, 2434 Vermont Street, Blue Island, Illinois. Start with pledge allegiance. Start City Council meeting, City of Blue Island, Wednesday, June 29th at 7:01 p.m. City Council Chambers, 2434 Vermont Street, Blue Island, Illinois. Start with pledge allegiance.
Alderman Montoya. Here. Alderman McGee.
Here.
Alderman Carr.
Here.
Alderman Roll.
Here.
Here.
Thank you. Next presentation is your proceedings. Need a motion to approve the council minutes for May 24th, 2022, the regular city council meeting. So motion, Alderman McGee, second by Alderman Fairwell on the question. Now clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Public comment. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Moving on, under old business. Mr. Tosca, are they here tonight?
Yes.
All right. I know we're gonna let them talk real quick, but we're gonna table until we get the estimate for the other situation. I'm gonna let them speak while they're here. Okay. So we need the Cardinal Incorporated, the way out here.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad that I have a chance to be here this evening. My name again is Molly Dowling, and I'm with an organization called OAI. We are actually a nonprofit whose mission is to provide skills training that leads to safe, meaningful employment and helps companies and communities to thrive. So we're all about putting people to work. And about 6 or 7 years ago, we started a social enterprise venture that helped install and maintain green infrastructure throughout the Southland region. So what I'm here tonight to talk to you about is something that we've put in front of you, an access and indemnification agreement to be able to provide free green infrastructure maintenance in your community. So we've been doing this for the last couple of years. We serve many municipalities in the Southland region. We're trying to show that we can provide cost savings through this kind of shared services approach. We've been providing maintenance services for the last couple of years in Blue Island, and so we're hopeful that we'll be able to offer this service again this year. I'll say that we provided this access and indemnification agreement to you in the spring, and we were hoping to get it signed a bit earlier so we could start work. Because with any kind of landscape service, the earlier in the spring you get started, the better. So we recognize that some of the green infrastructure sites have already become a bit overgrown, and so we're very eager to get in there and to maintain them, to cut them, to weed them, to get any kind of debris or garbage that's in them out of there. So we do a competitive bid for a contractor. Cardno won that bid from us. They also won it last year. And so they are the first professional ecological services entity that will come and do this maintenance in your community. I will say that in the last year, there have been many neighbors who come to talk to us while we're doing that work. Some are very much in support of the green infrastructure and understand its productivity in helping to alleviate flooding, and others don't like the way that it looks. Because it tends to sometimes be taller, or maybe it attracts more pollinators, or it might not be a traditional landscape approach. So today we're not talking about trying to install more green infrastructure. I know there's a lot of programs on the horizon that you might be interested in pursuing that are grant funded. Tonight we're just talking about maintenance of what's already been installed. We would be looking at coming out throughout the season. If it's something that interests you, we'd also be happy to sign a 2-year contract. We have grants that will continue to support this for a number of years. So sometimes this process, I hate for next spring for us to be in the same position as we are this year. It might not be avoidable, so that's okay. We'd love to get started as soon as possible because, like you all know with your own gardens, right, they've already become very lush because of the good the hot weather we've had in West Spring. So anyway, that's what I'm here. If you have any questions or there are any reasons why it wasn't signed previously, I'd love to hear those questions and try to respond.
That's why we invited you. There might be some questions that came up last time, so I'll open up to the alderman now to ask this year. Alderman Burnham.
Hi, thank you for coming. I really appreciate the offer that you're making to us, and it sounds like it's good, as you are, or as you acknowledge there are residents who are resistant, that would be probably a mild way to put it, to the green infrastructure project there. And I personally think a lot of it has to do with that it hasn't been implemented properly over the years, and it's now become a real sore point. And I understand that. Do you offer any kind of a proactive public education component of what you do? Because I don't think this is going to fly if you just show up there.
Well, I mean, that's not what we're offering today. We're not offering additional public education services. What we do offer is education about green infrastructure for municipalities and other landowners. So we do at least once yearly training for municipal employees to come and learn about the importance of green infrastructure and how to maintain it themselves properly. We did it already this year in Malsa, earlier this year, and then we had many municipalities participate. So, you know, we want to be part of the solution though, and if we can offer support, we will. So maybe there's something you could suggest.
Well, I also brings up partly because I attended our forestry board meeting this month. And there's a member of the forestry board who's involved in, I don't have a lot of detail about the organization he's with, but they do a lot of youth activities that are, it seems to be they're engaged in various ways of getting young people involved and helping their communities and being active and be understanding what the importance of things are. He indicated that he would be interested in kind of coordinating with the residents to maybe try to get some of the kids involved over there so they could carry the message forward. So if you'd like to, maybe we could talk about that at some point. But it just is a thought that occurred to me that it might be helpful.
Great. It doesn't have to be Drew Hart, is it, that we're talking about? Service. He helps with an organization called SGA that does a lot of programming. Yes, we'd love to talk about that. That would be great as a sort of larger, broader strategy to help make sure the landscape's right.
All right, we'll leave it
I'll do
there.
my
Yeah,
part.
thanks.
So have you been out to the rain gardens yet this year?
Yes,
Yeah,
I just tonight drove past them again.
okay. So you know that they're pretty much non-existent. They've all been cut down. The majority of the residents and the consensus is that they don't work. They don't work. It's been a failed project. Last year, we had to order, which was out of the norm, mosquito abatement up and down because of the surplus of mosquitoes. We've had residents who have contracted West Nile virus, and they can no longer walk correctly anymore. So I've personally myself cleaned up the rain gardens 6 or 7 times, and just bags and bags of garbage inside of them. It's horrendous. And then garbage leads to rats, and they're safe havens for rats. And we do have a rat problem on the what I call the tail of my ward, because my ward is kind of shaped like a cat. We have a rat problem there, but we do not have a rat problem closer towards 119th Street. However, if in fact these go unmaintained and under cared for, they will. So they have been cut down, and it doesn't alleviate any of the flooding issues that they were originally intended for. So this is another issue because last year on the other side of Longwood, it's a huge lake. Literally, I mean, up to halfway up the doors of vehicles. I have video of it. I have a guy who has a jet ski right there, he puts his jet ski on the water to get to his front door, so it's pretty bad, and it hasn't, they're not effective, so.
Would it be helpful though to have another service coming out to help do what you're doing, which is, get the garbage out and maintain it more often? Because without maintenance, it's of course worse than even with maintenance.
Yeah, I think the residents are kind of at wit's end with it, unfortunately. So I really think that the correct way to go would be to turn it back into grass, because it's not doing it, they're not doing their jobs. So, yes, it's just,
That's your call.
it's kind of a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound kind of a situation with the flooding.
Yeah, and I
So,
understand that.
yes.
I would just say that, again, what we're providing is just sort of we are offering the Band-Aid, but it is free. And it
Yes,
would help with some of the extreme difficulties around, the ongoing garbage, the ongoing, height of the plant
So,
right now.
as it is currently, I believe there are two residents who have not cut their rain gardens down. If in fact those residents would like to keep them, I would assume that maintenance would then be required for those. I don't know if it would just pertain to those two that are currently up, or.
Yeah, I
if it
think
could be
it's
amended.
a very large one on Irving, and then, what's not on this agreement is Longwood, and certainly there are lots of bump outs on Longwood, and we could continue to maintain
So
those as well.
on Irving, there's only the one, I believe, on Irving, which is what this was actually written for.
Right,
And it doesn't include any of the ones on Longwood or the one on Washington as well, so.
right, so we could maintain those. I was wondering myself why those sites aren't on here.
Hmm.
And so I believe it's because there was a separate contract with another maintenance provider. So I don't know that, although, we didn't do maintenance the first year of COVID, we started last year. So I don't know where those other contracts lie, but we could include additional sites. We have the funds to include additional sites in Blue Island if you like. So we could be doing Longwood, which there are many more pump outs there.
Just to clarify, you meant Washington or Irving?
There's one on Irving and there's one on Washington as well.
Yeah, there's the residential one in Washington, but then there are a number of bump out corners on Longwood.
Oh,
That
no,
one's
yes,
on
I'm
Longwood.
familiar with those two.
Yeah.
I think Alderman Tarr had.
If we were to approve this, when would you start?
Immediately. Our Cardinal is ready to get out tomorrow, as soon as we give them the green light.
Okay, because I believe in prior years, several years, we had a problem there because we couldn't get a contract signed quickly enough. And by the time the company got out there to do anything, it was like late July. Truly, summer is almost over. I understand the flooding concerns,
Yes.
but the gardens themselves are not what causes the flooding. So
Yes.
we
No,
really need,
it's not a cause, but it's not a cure or remedy either.
no,
Everything is cut down, I would say about an inch and a quarter in height. So there's nothing on those ones on Longwood. However, the one on Irving could be maintained. And that is what this contract is originally intended for. So, and I don't believe any of the ones on Longwood are included in this. So, I mean, we could, yes, proceed, and then we could add maybe Washington to the scholarship.
Or do you think that if we were at least able to maintain one site successfully, that maybe it would serve as a little bit of an example of how it could be done right?
Well, from again, comments of that residents have had, if you had it in front of your house,
I
a
understand.
wetland in front of your house, it would be very similar. They say, I don't like to live like this. So it's I only have, I want to say, one resident who doesn't have it in front of their house that is actually enjoys the land. The remainder of them are pretty much against them. So
So what I'm hearing, Alderman,
yes,
I came into this with one idea. Since it only pertains to the one, did you want to proceed with just this one? Also wait for the price we discussed coming back?
yes, yes.
And then revisit the Longwood situation at that point? This is it was only Irving on this one, right?
That's right.
If this is only Irving, yes, I think we can go go ahead with this for Irving, and then turn the ones on Longwood to grass, because again, majority of those residents are at wit's end with the rain gardens.
And the other option that we are happy to offer is to do some replanting, especially those longwood bump outs that are really pretty beautiful in terms of the way that they're designed.
Yes.
That we could do some replanting of more traditional plants that the residents would enjoy, that are, less about the native planting and more just about keeping them, naturalized in some ways. There's one corner that's pretty traditional, and we could mimic that in other sites, so roses or other kinds of plants that the residents want. So, would it be appropriate to have a view about the longwood sites?
Sure, definitely.
I think you guys get immediate contact information after this discussion, because he is the alternate for that section, for all the ones we're discussing, he's the alternate for.
I have just one quick question. Did you mention how often you would be meeting?
The offer is 5 times this season. So it's, a little more than monthly, every couple of weeks. It's not weekly.
Gotcha. And then I know like some services like there are similar to that, like for instance, like non-maintenance stuff like that. If there's a service needed in between, they sometimes will come on here and there. We have that option as well.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. There's a lot of flexibility with this. We're funding it with grant dollars, so we have, we have some leniency to ask the contractor to come more often or to do more. So our preference is to be in touch with the community to let us know what you need, and we would love to be as responsive as we possibly can.
The other thing is also removal of certain plants. I believe we've had residents go in and pull out poison sumac, and so again, if we could, this is actually beneficial for the one on Irving. Yes.
Let's, Alderman, I'm ask, can I make a motion just for the Irving one?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to assign to the Irving location.
Alderman Carr, any questions?
Just have one more question, if I may. In your card as well, I'm interested in talking about maybe future years and expanding stuff. I know some sites in my ward that could use some.
Okay, great, sounds good.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee,
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes.
I'm going to say what's going on the agenda, but I know there's a lot of family here. I'm going to jump to number N, under new business, letter N. Harding retirement proclamation. So we're jumping down the letter under new business. So City of Blue Island proclamation, retirement of Dr. Ty Harding, June 29, 2022. Whereas Dr. Ty Harding has deep family roots in the City of Blue Island, community, and Dwight D. Eisenhower High School, beginning with his father teaching at the school for over 25 years, and himself also continuing through early work managing Memorial Park Pool. Whereas Dr. Harding graduated from Dwight D. Eisenhower High School in 1979, received his bachelor's degree in English from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign in 1984, receiving his master's in English from the University of Illinois, Chicago, receiving his master's in educational administration from the University of Illinois, Chicago, receiving a certificate of advanced study in educational leadership from Lewis University, received a doctorate in educational leadership with emphasis on social justice from Lewis University, and was selected as La Salle Vanderbeer, I'm saying that, as the top student for the graduation ceremony. And whereas Dr. Harding had a long and distinguished career in the classroom as an educator, an administrator, and coach beginning in 1985. As an English teacher at Rantoul High School, who went on to be an English teacher, football coach, basketball coach, and dean of students at Harold L. Richard High School. And whereas in 1999, Dr. Harding became assistant principal and later associate principal at Dwight D. Eisenhower High School before becoming principal at Allen D. Shepherd High School in 2005. Whereas in 2010, Dr. Harding became the assistant superintendent of Community High School District 218 before becoming the superintendent in 2016. And whereas Dr. Harding has continued his public service on multiple boards, including the Moraine Valley Career Center, South Urban Conference, the Eisenhower Co-op, Illinois South Cook Region 4, Lewis University, and Trinity Christian College. And whereas Dr. Harding is a loving husband and proud father of 3 daughters, Abigail, Janina, and Carmel, all of whom graduated from District 218 high schools. And whereas the mayor and aldermen of the City of Blue Island wish to celebrate the retirement of Dr. Ty Harding and thank him for his years of service to the City of Blue Island, be it resolved that the mayor and aldermen of the City of Blue Island, on behalf of themselves and the entire community, extend their sincere congratulations to Dr. Ty Harding and wish him health and happiness in his retirement. Now therefore, I, Fred Bellato, Mayor for the City of Blue Island and the Blue Island City Council, do hereby present this proclamation wishing a happy retirement to Dr. Ty Harding as a matter of public record. And a motion and a second. Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman McGee. Any question? Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Adopted and approved this 29th day of June, 2022. I'd like to present this to Dr. Harding.
I give you several copies.
Congratulations.
Let me say something that you can take. Okay, so I'll be very short, but just thank you sincerely. It's been a great, amazing ride here, and I've been going to a lot of these sorts of things, and this is as important as anything, to be quite honest, because as Mayor Bellato said, our roots are deep in Blue Island. My dad landed here in 1960 at Eisenhower. My kids went through the school system here. I came back, we moved away for 5 years when I graduated from University of Illinois. We came back, bought a house here in town. And so this is a really, really special place to us. And then you add to that, just personal family history, that this is really the cradle of District 218, is Blue Island. And the roots go back to 1895. And Whittier, was one of the first schools at Seymour over across on the east side here. Of course, the old main building, Eisenhower, President Eisenhower coming here to dedicate the school. So it's really, really cool for me that this is kind of, I'm hoping I'm not getting any more awards anymore, that this is kind of the end for me. And Eisenhower invited me to give the commencement speech. So it's really cool to start a career here and start a life here, and then it come full circle and then land here with this honor. So I am beyond honored. So thank you very, very much. Very, very appreciate it. Okay, thank you. My mother doesn't want to come on. My mother is a little different. And I want to get the mayor in there too.
Yeah.
They're going to family.
Okay.
You don't want to be put on.
Okay. In the front, in the front. Won't pass it. Ready? Big one, Jerry.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You guys can get out of here. Unless you want to stay and watch, we're in a lot of meetings.
Thank you. Thanks, Jack. Thank you.
Going back to under old business, we have the resolution for the City of Blue Island, Cook County, Illinois, authorizing and approving a contract between the City of Blue Island and Rock Group Incorporated for the installation, maintenance, and use of automatic license plate readers. I believe there might be some. I need a motion and second the amendments. So a motion made by Alderman Crownwell, second by Alderman Carr, and then question.
I'd like to make a motion to amend, please, to add the policy that we reviewed at the last committee for the adoption by the police department.
Motions are made to amend, second by Alderman Crownwell, on the question on the amendment. We approve the amendments and go back to the motion. Roll call.
Amendment, Alderman Fairwell.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, unanimous.
Thank you. Now, back to the original motion. This was amended, the motion a second again. Motion by Alderman Roll, Alderman Carr seconded. Any question? Now the roll call for back to the original motion.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee,
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next, under mayor's report, we have motions just in case any public is watching, we missed the because of issues with quorum and the election. So we're only meeting once this month, so we have 3 different payrolls on the agenda. Unless there's any discrepancy, I ask to make a motion to include all 3 in one motion. Is there any issue? Motion made by Alderman Johnwell, second by Alderman Montoya. On the question?
I do just have one question.
Okay.
Mark, thank you for your usual response to my questions. There's just one point I'm not clear on, if you can help me with. That issue about, that I still don't understand, and I'll give you this specific example. I'm looking at the most recent payroll. As an example, and I'm not picking on you, it's just an example, I'm not picking anybody else, who we pick on you. Yeah. There's, so, your pay is under 409, you have a payroll amount, you have a gross pay and a net pay, and everybody knows you're like this, okay? So I can definitely not pick it up. But then, and then if we go to, page 8 of the most recent payroll, there's a payroll, I really like 520, I understand why. And there's a gross pay amount, but the net pay is 0. And that's true for a lot of these checks. So that's what I don't understand.
Correct. So if we look at the distribution column versus department column, so if you see the distribution column is 520, which is water department,
Right.
and then the department is 409, so that's like my home department, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And as I mentioned in the email, a number of individuals are paid a portion from the water fund, a portion from the general fund. In my example, I'm 80-20.
Got it.
So 80% of my salary is paid out of the 409, the general fund, and the 20% of my salary comes out of the water fund.
Yeah, I understand, but I don't understand why net pay shows as 0.
Because it's just the way that it's traced out in the pay count system.
So does
Okay,
that appear the other fund?
Yes.
I think it's just so it doesn't double add. It's a running total across all funds, as I understand it.
Yes.
Seen that?
Okay, I'm sure you're all, because I'm just not understanding, that's all. So, because the amounts don't add up. If you take the line item for you, that's on,
Page 2.
page 2, correct. There's an amount, sorry, at the top there. There's a gross pay amount, and there's a total net pay amount. And actually, the net pay is, of course, less than the gross pay. Does that net pay also incorporate?
Yes.
So that's the total, is your total net pay for the period.
756.
All right, now I got it. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Now, clerk, please do the roll for A, B, and C.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee,
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Motion carries. On to D, which was already combined into one total, again, for the past month and a half. The largest amount here was, I think, nearly more, 600,000 of CDBG for Collins and R19. We need a motion to approve accounts payable in the amount of $1,106,595.09. Yep.
We sent out two,
Right.
we sent out 2 agendas. I'm sorry, we sent out 1 agenda with an addendum to the original accounts payable. So we actually have on the agenda that was posted outside, we have the $1.1 million accounts payable, and then the next line, the next item on the agenda is for the manual checks.
$354,000.
All right, so this one is just regarding this one, which includes the 600,000 CDBG, right?
Correct.
Okay, all right. So back to dollar amounts, there's an additional one missing off the one I printed. All right, so still on D, nothing's changing what's on D. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Groundwald on the question. Madam Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. So the one that's missing off my agenda is the telling. Need a motion for approval of the manual checks issued for June 15, 2022. Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman McGee on the question. Madam Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
All right. So ED, the second E on here, F, G, and H, all regarding property sales. Is there any contestants or run them all in motion? All right, motion for E, F, G, and H regarding the property sales. Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Fairwell on the question. Madam Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. There's some that were not bid on that have to go back out to bid, along with one that was recently acquired on Grove Street. So that's coming down the pipe. We need a resolution for the city of Blue Island, County of Illinois, authorizing and approving the purchase of 2022 Ford F-550 4x4 Osage Super Warrior ambulance. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Carr, second by Alderman Montoya. Is there a question? Madam Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next, we have J, an ordinance for the city of Blue Island, Cook County, Illinois, amending Title III, under the Administration, Chapter 33, Fire and Police Departments, Emergency Services, Section 33.018, Fire Protection and Emergency Medical Services of the city of Blue Island, Code in relation to ambulance billing rates. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Fairwell on the question. Madam Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. K, we have an ordinance for the city of Blue Island, Cook County, Illinois, granting a special use permit to continue a two-family dwelling within the residential R1 district located at 12816 Wall Street. This one for planning and zoning. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Carr, second by Alderman Fairwell on the question. Madam Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Next one, we have the ordinance for the city of Blue Island, Cook County, Illinois, granting a variance to build a privacy fence on a corner lot in the residential R1 district facing Vincennes Avenue at 2260 Olive Street. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman McGee, second by Alderman Fairwell on the question. On the question.
I just wanted to note that I wasn't real enthusiastic about this initially. I had good discussions with Howard Capari, and I understand the situation. I am going to vote for it. And I was glad to hear the Historic Preservation Commission is working on setting some standards for fencing, because I really don't care for the fences going up, but it's going up. But I think that will be important for the future. So.
I did notice on the property, they removed all the bushes, right?
They've done, yeah.
Right, that was the follow-up. Remember, she was having a hard time,
We all hear you.
she was having a hard time getting a contractor, so the permit was issued.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why the landscaping has been removed. No fences up there yet. I checked on Monday, everything is the way we described it. But yeah, this is a project that's been in wait for almost a year.
Thank you. Any other questions? Not clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Next, we have an ordinance for the city of Blue Island, Cook County, Illinois, amending ordinance number 2020-10, chapter 15, land usage, chapter 166, zoning, in relation to the zoning of adult use cannabis. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Fairwell on the question. Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Aye. Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mayor's announcements, there is some action going on and some things Jim is working on that I'll talk in person with you guys later regarding what's going on in your wards. Asphalt, they're still on strike, but the horizon is that funds are still being spent to repair some things in the city out of that same line item. And 5 people have pulled a bid packet for our street resurfacing project, which is very promising, very promising. A lot of good names. They're due July 7th. Let's all cross our fingers that the strike can end around the same time, and we can finally start doing some major work on the streets. So that's the update on that. Me and the administration have been checking in on Public Works on a daily basis, physically at the department, and they are continuing doing what they're doing best they can, and we're evaluating the applications and interviews that Jim and the administration went through. And we should have an update with you guys soon before we post anything for Jim's position. What else? Okay, probably something that I was going to talk to you guys anyways afterwards more about the Jim situation. I think that's it. I'll keep it very brief. City Clerk.
First round of shredding is done. TGIF is a success, so come on out and support the businesses on Fridays. Farmers Market has started. We're gonna have a meeting July 6th in East Annex to do a citywide calendar for 2023 at 1 o'clock. If anyone's interested in joining us. Fireworks on the Sundays, please come out. We had 7 food vendors. Last year we had 2. We have craft vendors, we have information booths, we have inflatables, we have face painting, we have a massage tent. We have Zero Rescue Reptiles, Natural Law, we sell beer, and we have a spectacular fireworks show. So please come out. I also want the community to make sure that they know to, if we're going to have a block party, to come in and fill out the form, the correct forms for the block party. Vehicle stickers are due by Saturday, is that correct, Mayor? We've set it to Saturday?
Yes.
I'm
extending because of the holiday weekend. Because the first
Saturday, so make sure you do your vehicle stickers if you have not done so yet. Girls have worked extra hard. For today alone, they sold over 600 vehicles.
Thank you. Need a motion to approve the treasury report and include it in your packet. Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Carr. Any questions? Clerk, please do the roll. Yep. Roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Rita, Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
City Attorney, you have anything outside the agenda? City Administrator's report, we do have a resolution under here for the Alliance Insurance Services. You want to talk before we vote?
Yeah, so, Tom, City Administrator, the line insurance, will be discussed in committee of the whole, for our fire vehicles. From 47,000 to 14,000, most of that change. Some of that is just normal inflation prices, the majority of that changes, but I'll give a little bit more update about insurance, after the vote.
Okay. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman Carr. On the question. Clerk, please do the roll.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya, Alderman McGee,
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
5 ayes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Administration report.
Tom, over to the administrator, couple documents I'd love to rejoin in here, I want to walk through real quick. The first is one that Baker Tilly's, graphic image on the front here. This is just for your information on our upcoming audit with Baker Tilly. It outlines who they are, the areas that their general approach towards auditing, which is, from an industry standard boilerplate, the areas of emphasis that they are going to be focusing on when they do our audit. Other reviews from the required communications that we have to do. And the second to last page has some scheduling on there. I want to say a couple of things about the scheduling. So we're looking at an October conclusion is what we're aiming for in this. If everyone remembers from going back last year, the city, probably COVID is the most likely culprit here, but the city was really without a 2020 or 21 on. So we were pretty far behind on that. Being behind on that made us behind on our tax levy, which made us behind on our. Okay, so we are efforting here that we are going to be on a better schedule with this, but it's still not perfect. Really should be done by September with this, or have by September with this. This will be, and you can hold me to this will be the last year that we are this far behind schedule. So we've made improvements from last year to this year. Next year we will be on schedule because now we have our finance team in place. We have our auditor in place for the next 4 years. Everyone knows each other. Everyone knows what's supposed to be. So there won't be there might still be a couple bumps along the road, a couple surprises, but we should be on a much more stabilized system in terms of auditing, which will help stabilize our tax levy and budget process, our corporation process. Okay. So go ahead and look for that. If you have any questions about that, do let me know. I probably would have to take any specific detailed questions back to our finance people, but Casper, et cetera. But if you have any questions now, just let me know. That is the purpose of this day. The other thing that we have here is a revenue and expenditure statement. Honestly, we were just because we don't want to be doing this just quarterly because we had a month here where we kind of packed a lot of financial stuff into one meeting vote. Felt it was a pretty good time for us to take a look at this document again, peruse through it, see areas where you have any thoughts, comments. Mark and I are available to answer questions. Couple notes on this. This is reconciled through April of this year. So we're working on May and get caught up on that. This is reconciled through April. We have a couple areas here we've already seen. Mark and I were thumbing through this. We've already seen where we have some errors here that need to be rectified. So just to give you a couple examples of things we already found. Just looking at this. Our film revenues are, I think, they'll list out like $2,400 or something like that. It's more than that. So we have more film revenue than that. It's just not been accounted for properly. And you'll see some things in terms of like mayor's office and clerk's office, the full-time and part-time salaries. We've got some funky math going on there. So we're looking through that. We're going to be correcting it as we go. But if you see anything that you're like, what's that about? Let us know. We can either try to dig further to provide explanation, or if you see something that's wrong, realize found something that's wrong, then we can have the information we need to start correcting it. In some cases, you'll see in our revenue areas, we're just seeing some of these higher percentage numbers. Some of those we can point to better production and better services. So we're doing very good building permits and fees. We're doing better with red light cameras than we thought. So then we have some areas, the building permits and fees particularly, I think, is worthy of pointing out, because if you go from May of last year to May of this year, I'd say probably the building department is our most improved situation. It's also one of our most public faces. All right, so we've got a pretty good team in there. We've got we've been able to staff up a little bit, put some good people there. I can tell you, I know Mark has had this happen, or the mayor has had this happen. I get more cold compliments about our building department's improvement than anything else in the city. And people have stopped me on the porch, just on the front porch, just to say, I was here last year, it was terrible, this is so much better. All right, so on top of that, also, we're enforcing, we're requiring people to have any permits, we're requiring people to, they can't just do weekend warrior and get away with it. So I do think that is some progress that's worth noting on that. And then a couple other quick things. So we are officially out in the process now of getting quotes for liability insurance. We met with our broker, met with our police department last week, and we went through, basics of the department, some of the risk management things they do, et cetera, things like that. At that point, the broker said he has what he needs to go. So the next time I bring it up, hopefully sooner rather than later, my hope is to have the ballpark cost that we can then start to wrap our heads around on their comprehensive policy. And then the last thing I want to mention, you should have gotten an email from Mark about this earlier, but I wanted to just really make sure that everyone's aware. If any of the aldermen, any of the officials, if your stipend for your service here is a direct deposit into a First Midwest account, you need to call Mark, because your routing number is about to change. Because First Midwest has been taken over by the so the direct deposits are going to bounce back if it's attached to your own routing number. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. Talking about the First Midwest account. That's all I have in this questions.
Any questions?
I got one. Tom, I'm glad that we're getting this revenue report. What do you think ultimately is a kind of a goal for getting this kind of closer to real time? And this is, I think, 4:30 or almost at 6:30. How close do you think we can get to real time report?
We should be able to, the ultimate goal here is to correct salary. Okay, so we have taken our lab time and shortened it, but now we're
1 month behind, we're 1 month behind what we should be.
Yeah, that's accurate. And we're getting better. Now that we have Casper's team in place, while they have some institutional knowledge, things changed, right? So we're getting better. I'm anticipating, and I don't want to overpromise anything, but I'm anticipating as we go through that, as we're gated, that we should be, 30 days behind in that day. Right? So you're seeing the checkbook, a month behind, probably what it is. So that's not, some things will be different, but it's pretty close to accurate. And I think your question, I did want to touch base on one other aspect of this as well, about how this is going to be presented in the future. Alderman Roll and I have been meeting that again this week. We have been in touch with Smart Fusion, who is our database space with all information. We're basically what we're doing is we are building a pathway. Alderman Roll, you have to speak about more intelligent than I can. We're building a pathway to where we'll have real-time data updates every week into a database. All girls going to use his knowledge to help us build it. And that will be something that the council and ultimately members of the public will be able to see a more interactive version of this, a more user-friendly version of this. So what we're going for here is to, be towards the top of what's considered transparency and consent. Basically, that's our goal. I don't know if you wanted to.
No, that's about right. I mean, it's still, initially it's going to be a proof of concept, but, we have worked with Smart Fusion. They are going to send us extracts of the financial data so that we can present it as fast as we can consume it and serve it back up. But, ideally something like that could be refreshed nightly. There'd still be a reconciliation process with the books themselves, but our ability to access the information and present it would be consistent.
Any questions? Thank you. I did also meet, I remember what I was going to say, with Lakeshore, went well. They know what we want. I gave them all the notes, discussed the committee meetings, recycling, yard waste, and people pickup. They're going to bring back a proposal, give them a timeline right after the 4th of July holiday, and hopefully we come to something that's beneficial financially for the city. It seems like they want to continue working here. I'm dealing directly with them now. It's one of the things that took away from public works. I'm dealing with a lot of resident complaints right now, so feel free to send them to me or Rayanne from city administration or for stuff like garbage pickup. Potholes, and we can't buy the hot patch. Some companies still have a supply that they're using up right now. We are still stuck with the pothole situation. So that's the other thing I want to mention. We did make a Facebook post and we want to share that. And it's been on something where our public works department administration, like a daily basis, we can find some. Legally, we can't buy from certain people, but they can still do work in the city. So it's kind of like we're in a weird area right now. And we're not the only ones in this area. So that was the other thing I wanted to tag on to the report. All of them announcements, reports, and comments.
Really quickly, I just wanted to extend my condolences to Jim's family. I was not able to do so at that. My heart goes out to his family. I talking about Lakeshore. We didn't have our garbage for the entire ward picked up, and on Monday, I ended up having to reach out to Lakeshore. They were very apologetic, and they ended up picking up our garbage the very day that I called. So, it was kind of a slacking situation, but it was rectified. So, we had those alleyways done, which is great. In the future, if maybe whoever could reach out to us and let us know when there's an alleyway project, because the first notification that I received of it was from a resident complaining that it wasn't graded, and he took a marble and dropped it and like rolled to his alley, to his garage. So, you know, again, I'm grateful that we're getting alleys done, but, you know, it'd be nice to be notified. And then, again, the pitch, you went out, the mayor went out there, I went out there, and the work was still, you know, where a marble could roll down. So, the other thing, feedbacking off of Brianne, if any Fifth Ward residents would like to have a block party, feel free to contact me. I will help you get the signatures required, and I will also pay for the fee. So that's about it.
Thank you. Alderman Carl. Alderman Carr.
I just wanted to say, I recently bought a dog license for my dog. And I'll admit I was late, but I was a little bit surprised to find out that my license is number 24. I'm thinking there are 10 dogs on my block alone. And I really believe that the importance of a dog license is to prove to the city that your dog has been vaccinated for rabies, because you can't get a dog license without vaccination. So if there's all these dogs out there, and we know that there are, and their owners are not buying licenses, I would say probably the reason they don't buy a license is that the dog does not have a rabies vaccine. I don't know how far we want to pursue this, but I think it's a potential problem in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I would agree with you, Alderman. I haven't thought about it too much, but you make a good point. And there are a lot of dogs in this town, and there's a lot of good dogs. There's not so good dogs. And there are a lot of dogs. And I think I know it's a $5, still $5 fee. Oh, $10 fee. All right, it's not, it's not a lot of revenue to the city, for sure. But and I don't think it's ever really been taken very seriously. And I know we do probably have some bigger fish to fry, but I agree it would be something we should, set our sights on, maybe doing a better job.
I'm going to notify her immediately. She's supposed to.
If you look at the revenue report at the end of April, only 15 licenses had been purchased. It's like, ouch.
Yeah.
And that would also help, people's dogs get loose instead of them being posted on Facebook, there's this dog running loose, and it's like, at least if the police department picked them up, they would have a way to return the dog to the owner, because the license would identify them.
Thank you. Alderman.
I'll just be brief. I'm going to harangue a little bit. We just had an election yesterday, right? Or Tuesday, and I was looking at the results, and what I noted was, as usual, and I know it's a between things election, but the turnout was just abysmal. 13% voted for governor. It just disgusts me. I don't know how else to put it. This whole country was founded on the principle of, freedom and right to vote, and people died for it, and it's really important. And you can see, I've been a part of elections where the margin of, one vote can absolutely make a difference, or a few. And regardless of your position about whatever presidential politics we're in, it's clear that a very few votes can make a really big difference. And from my perspective, I got vote by mail, which I really like, because it took me an hour and a half. Sat down with my computer and my ballot and researched all the judges, and they, the best informed vote I could. And my feeling is that if I kept one unqualified judge from taking office, that was worth an hour and a half. Absolutely. So if you don't vote, you don't get to complain, and I don't want to hear about it.
Very, very slow. Any other Alderman? None. The executive session minutes will push to the next meeting. The motion to adjourn. Motion by Alderman Roll, second by Alderman McGee. Question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.